Well, so much for my Valentine's video, though I will get it out sometime this year. And also the video on Cosmic Princess Kaguya. And speaking of which, watch Cosmic Princess Kaguya. It is by far the best animated film of the year so far, out of the, three? And those other two, we will be talking about today, Hoppers and Goats, which I managed to catch in theaters this past month. Now, when Hoppers was first announced, I was honestly not super excited. Animal shenanigans were a thing I was getting pretty tired of around that time, and it didn't help when the news came out that Disney executives told the crew to tone down the environmental messages. So yeah, I wasn't crazy about that whole ordeal, but I was surprised to see it was getting glowing reviews, not just from other critics, but my friends as well. So I was mildly curious now, and I heard that it would be off the wall insane, so I was doubly intrigued. And now after watching it, yeah, it's pretty great. Right off the bat, I really like the voice cast, and especially the script comedically is very strong. Monotonous mainstream dialogue has kind of been a thing with me lately, what with characters not interrupting each other lately, and having very first draft feeling lines. But Hoppers very much isn't that. This was done by the same people who made We Bare Bears, and it feels like it, as it carries that same sense of quirky, wordy dialogue and weird as hell shenanigans, and oh boy, do the shenanigans get weird as hell. For the first half of the film, it's really engaging and a lot of fun, following a college kid getting her mind transplanted into a robot beaver to help some animals save their land, but it also is just another comfy talking animal movie. The second half, however, kicked off by one of the most hysterical midpoints I've seen in a family film in a while, has a ton of off-the-wall fun with the situations these characters get into, from the shark to the murderous monarch butterfly, oh that's why he's the insect king, to the robot stuff near the end. Now, I don't know if this was always going to be the tone of the film from its conception. The We Bare Bears people love their zaniness, but I also like to imagine that after they were told to back off from their environmentalist themes, they decided to go completely 180 and rack up the shenanigans. And if that was the case, then they definitely succeeded. However, that's also where the film kind of lost me. Not to say that the character drama and environmentalist messages aren't there. They are, and they're done very well, but it does feel simple, and not in a way where the simplicity speaks volumes, which admittedly might be an effect of just knowing the behind the scenes, as well as current events really putting a damper on the whole let's all get along idea that King George spouts out repeatedly, even though for a movie targeted towards a family audience, that is not a bad lesson to teach kids. Except it's not just that. I like the characters fine, and they have some funny bits here and there, but it is kinda hard to remember what Mabel's deal is throughout the movie, and most of the time feels like she's just doing things, so she doesn't rank very high in terms of Pixar protagonists. There's also the bear, the other beaver, and the lizard, who are fun, they just kinda fade into the background most of the time. And while Jerry's arc is neat and does set a positive example for adults to understand the plights of the youth and that their actions have consequences, it's also another one of those family film moments where the audience thinks, I wish it was that easy to solve all the world's problems. That being said, this movie's stance on environmentalism and political power is for other people to discuss, and is not necessarily the focus of the movie in its current state. It is just off-the-wall fun and chaos rolled into a complete package, and I'm glad Pixar was able to get this out. It's not the kind of film I imagined they would ever make given their track record of devastating emotional powerhouses, but good on them for releasing this. It's honestly really great. 7 out of 10. And while we're talking about mainstream animated films of 2026, I watched Goat about a month ago. It's okay. I do love the animation style, building off of these stylistic choices of Spider-Verse and K-pop Demon Hunters, while also incorporating this multi-biome world accommodating different species like Zootopia, but if it was a lot more grimy. The character designs and animations pop out, and the rollerball sequences are action-packed fun. But it is reflective of my earlier exhaustion towards mainstream dialogue because the script is kinda basic. There are a lot of lines here and there that feel way too familiar if you've watched any sports film, or even any Sony animation film for that matter. It just feels like someone turned in a first draft by accident, and the producers thought that was good enough. As a result, Will and Jet's respective character arcs and their dynamic feels underdeveloped, and the side characters are very one-note with their single trait personalities. Except for the giraffe, he was cool. But yeah, for as pretty as it looked, it was just not my thing, and mostly made me think, you know what, I need to rewatch McFarlane sometime. I liked that movie growing up. Maybe I would have liked this better if this wasn't the movie that Sony was pulling out all the stops for, instead of Black Knight and Matt Braley's Thai mythology movie. I'm at least glad that Matt Braley is launching a Kickstarter for his new series just to tell Sony to go fuck off, but yeah, despite being an external factor and not really this movie's fault, it did kinda sour my experience a bit, but I still had some fun with GOAT. It's just not compelling enough for me to care about it that much. 5 out of 10 could have been better, but also could have been worse. Y'all remember the uproar from when it was first announced? That was something. Again, watch Cosmic Princess Kaguya. If you want more off-the-wall comedic fun, Spike's Family is always a good one to look at. Watch Wild Robot if you haven't, for some reason. And if you want to see more animal shenanigans with semi-environmentalist messages, and random rare live-action recommendation, Dead Talent Society on Netflix. It's one of my new favorite movies, so please give it some love. So that is my quick review for Hoppers and GOAT. Let me know what your thoughts on these movies were. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Thank you for watching, and catch you next time.